Are we filming now? Great. Okay, I won't say anything good now. All right, so act like I've got a full room. Really glad to be here today, and I hope that the superintendents in all the downtime I have get a chance to speak at this, because I'm really excited to be able to share an opportunity that Western Kentucky is going to offer. We are just kicking off. So I'm going to open up with some thinking questions. So I want to ask everyone out there, do you have a plan in place to develop your next generation of leaders? I know that there's so much focus on where do we get bus drivers, cafeteria workers, teachers, where do we get these people? But do you have your plan for your next generation of leaders? If I had them in here right now, I would probably ask them, I would be asking you, I want you to write down 3 to 5 teachers that you know would be fantastic leaders and administrators in your district. I know you know who they are. You can call them, you can see their faces in your mind right now. You know who would be good. Oftentimes, though, what we run into is maybe they've got student debt. They don't want to take on more debt. They just finished grad school. They don't want to go be in a principal program yet. And then you're like, well, I guess we missed our window. Maybe somewhere down the road. Our goal is to help mitigate a lot of those issues. We know that because the teacher pool is shrinking, and because the requirement for rank 2 is gone, the number of leaders who are going into principal preparation programs is starting to decline. And so how do you then go more for the quality aspect of developing the leaders who know your community, know your school, know your people, know your initiatives? How do you cultivate that so that you could leverage them for your business? So, got some what-if questions I wanted to run by. So what if your district or a group of districts through your co-op were able to train your own teacher leaders to be principals? Think about that for a minute. When your teacher leaders go on and take an online program where, depending on some of the remote areas, they've got to drive hours away to pick up these classes, are your students being trained to specifically come back and work in your community and to address the specific issues and challenges of your community? Or are they getting kind of the generic curriculum that prepares everyone to be a leader, and then they got to go learn it at home? I would say that that's probably not the norm. That would probably be the exception. When we think about training people in the Western Kentucky service area, we recognize that far West Kentucky is not the same as Bowling Green area. Eastern Kentucky is not the same as Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky is not the same as Central or Southern Kentucky. So why aren't our programs being tailored to meet those needs? Part of it is the faculty that you have on staff. They live in that area, probably, or maybe they came in from out of state, brought into a big program. So what if you could leverage the people from your region, from your district, to be the lead instructors for training your new leaders? What if you had the support of a major university to help you develop that program, help you tailor it, help you meet the needs of your people without saying, no, this is the curriculum, this is the way to take it, luck of the draw? And then, as I said already, what if you could tailor the curriculum, take that shell and you fill it with the stuff that you know your leaders in your area need? What if we could get your candidates through in 18 months or less? What if we could make sure that the clinical experiences that you want for your candidates are developed specifically for your schools, your districts, your region? What if there were multiple pathways to getting a candidate through. Let me give you some for examples. If you have a really strong teacher leader, they already have a rank 2, they are chairing ARC meetings, they're on your site-based council, they're coaching, they're doing all these things. And they don't really have time to go to school, never took the time to go back and get it, and you know you need them in leadership positions. We offer a proficiency evaluation where we can say, let's look at all you've done as a leader. And then we compare it to the PCEL standards, see what's covered, and then we tailor a program and give them that statement of eligibility right then and there. We also have the principal program for rank 2. So if you've got a young or someone who just is probably going to be a young teacher because of the change in the rank program regulations, but you got an up and coming star, and you're like, I need to get them in now. The pool's too, it's just too thin. We need this one. We can develop it. We've got an option 6 route for rank 2. We have rank 1. We have cert only. So we have something to fit anybody to get them in. If you know how it is. If you need the battlefield promote, we can help you do that. Sometimes you hit those. And then sometimes you see a candidate and you're like, man, they haven't started. I can't wait 2 years for them to get through the program, and I can't have the one that I really want the most. We've got pathways to help mitigate that, and I think that's pretty cool. So then we hear about cost. So what if the tuition was among the most affordable in the state at only $350 per credit hour if you're an educator in Kentucky? So in the 30-hour program, that comes up to $10,500. The only cheaper program that we identified was between $9,000 and $9,500. So let's say though that a district wanted to invest and grow your own leaders. Western will come in and match dollar for dollar every dollar that the district wants to invest in that leader. So let me say that again. So if you, as a district, say, we want to keep some people in place, we're willing to invest in them as a future leader. And we'll use Title II dollars or some other funds to help mitigate and offset that tuition. And we will match every dollar the district puts in. We're already doing that in teacher prep. We have MOAs in other counties down in the Bowling service area. And what we're finding is some different models. One of them is kind of a shared responsibility model. A third, a third, a third. The district puts up $3,500, Western puts up $3,500. The candidate has a little skin in the game, but they're out of it after $3,500. Where can you get a quality education, training, in the context of your region and the needs for your district? You can't get that anywhere else. That's why I'm so excited about it. I mean, I'm thinking as a former principal, if I had the ability to nominate some teachers to a cadre that I could train them up the Woodford way when I was at Woodford County High School and know that they were ready day one to come in. I think that there's such an opportunity to close some of what people call the preparation gap and the practical gap by having them just really ingrained in the culture of what you're doing for your district and your school.
That culture is interesting because since we're still in the league, we have on universities close to our district, not what that can do. So we use Title II money and set back folks to get rid of the certified. So there's no cultural model, so we use another Title II money that's well working hard we can to get those, because kids didn't have opportunities for their credit without, somebody in our district. Nobody wanted to drive to the county, teach course, whatever. Or towards going on at that time. So that's fantastic that you all are looking to introduce and maybe already got it in place, that cultural model, because think of it as third. I think you talk to them, you do whatever, still pay not hard, to get invest that dollar in something else for kids. But I love that. That's really thinking and you want to work with. So anyway,
for us. She's extremely innovative and progressive, and we're going to get into why we're a great partner for that here as well. So I'm going to kick over to Dr. DeSandra here. But the first question, did you know that Western is not only a Kentucky leader, but a national leader in critical prayer? I'm going to let Marty talk some about where this program is and where it's come from.
Thank you, Rob. I think some of you may be aware that the Wallace Foundation funded a $6 million initiative with Western Kentucky University back in 2016 to rethink principal preparation. And when WKU was honored to be one of the 7 across the nation that were selected for this, and I mean, there were our one institutions that were selected. San Diego State was one, University of Connecticut was one, and then there were a few others that were
NC State.
NC State was one. Florida Atlantic University, which is a peer institution for us, was selected, and a couple of others. We were very excited about the possibilities, and a couple of things happened when we went through this process, and started at 6 years ago, and just actually 2 days ago ended up having our closing meeting with Wallace and talking with them about the progress that we've made over time. And it was amazing for us, but we learned so much. And one of the the biggest lessons that we learned is that as educators in higher education, we can't do what we do in a vacuum. We can't just sit in our ivory tower and think, we know everything and we know how to do it best. We have got to work with our district partners and our cooperative partners in order to be able to build programs that meet the standards that we're required to meet, but also do that in context. As we work with the 7 institutions across the country, we learned a lot about equity, diversity, and inclusion, a topic that is hot across the nation and hot in Kentucky. But what we learned is that DEI is contextual. It is not just about race or ethnicity. DEI encompasses so many different things, like SES and gender issues. There's just so many things that are in context that you can't just go in and say, okay, because the hot topic today is racism or ethnicity, that's what we're going to focus on, and prepare people for leadership roles that don't actually ever address those issues, because that's not what their community is. So we have developed a format in our program, working directly with our partners to develop equity curriculum that's around the issues and contexts that our partners are dealing with. We were the impetus for this state adopting the TESOL standards, and for pulling together this university principal preparation initiative in the state of Kentucky, where all of the EPPs get together on a monthly basis and talk about the work that we're doing.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yes.
People will say, so what's special about your program? Well, a lot of the programs have made improvements, but it was all because of what Marty and Western catalyzed through this Wallace initiative.
And if I can, you had asked me, how did you snag him? So let me tell you, because Rob worked with us and was a part of this initiative, he saw the changes that were happening in our program, and he saw the good work that we were doing and the work that we were doing with our district partners. And one of the, I think, the things that was most revealing to us was at the very beginning of the Wallace work. They wanted us to go through this process called quality measures. And that is a standards-based approach to looking at your program, identifying evidence that shows how you meet the standards and where you meet the standards, whether you're meeting them a little bit, or whether you're meeting them and you're doing well with something. And we had to go through this process, but we had to do it with our partners. So we had 5 district partners that we were working with as part of the grant. Warren County, Davis County, Owensboro Public Schools, Bowling Green Public Schools, and Simpson County Schools. And we brought in our state partners as well. And we spent an entire day from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon going through each standard and showing ourselves to them, and showing where our vulnerabilities were and our weaknesses were. And it wasn't so much that we weren't doing things well, because we thought prior to Wallace we had a good program, but what we we learned was that we were not collecting evidence that may demonstrate how well we were doing. And where we did have areas of weakness, our partners were thought partners with us in terms of identifying pieces of evidence that we could use or finding ways for us to think differently about the work that we do. One of the things that we've done as we teach our own classes on Bowling Green campus is we bring in a practitioner partner to co-teach with all of our instructors so that they get the theoretical foundational piece that they need to have to understand leadership in context. But they also have that expert in the field who is helping us show how to apply that in the real world. And with this model, we would have our expert in the field, so to speak, the folks from the districts who would be delivering the courses, but under the supervision and collectively working with our faculty to make sure that we're still getting the foundational pieces that they need, but it really meets what the needs are within the community itself. So I think it sets our program apart from every other program in the state right now in terms of the work that we're doing. And so, I mean, I think that's why we almost, when we graduated this week, as we call it, which was really, really nice. They invited us to be a practitioner partner or provider partner for other universities that will be going through this process in the future. There's a new Wallace initiative that's coming out. It hasn't been announced yet, but there is a Kentucky recipient. They have asked us if we would be a provider partner for the universities that are participating to help them go through this process as well. Our goal is, we don't make money off of this program. I mean, obviously, especially with a cooperative program where we're sharing tuition. Yeah. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to make sure that we have quality leaders, because the research tells us that next to the classroom teacher, the principal is the most important person in that building. And so we believe in our product, we believe in our program, and we think that we are now an exemplary program that will be used as a model across the United States for smaller, more regional institutions, and we're excited about that. And we think we have a great product, and we think that we have a program that works, and it's not so vanilla that that everybody who goes through it comes out with the same thing. They're going to come out different because they're coming to us in different places. And I think the piece that Rob spoke about in terms of meeting the students where they are and developing the program around them does set us apart from everybody else and makes us very different, because we're willing to look at what are those experiences students have had outside of being a leader, an assigned leader in the school, and how does that translate to preparing them for their next step.
And one thing I will have to say, and I like the part about meeting them where they are, but also there has to be some similarity traits in a principle, that I can carry that from East Kentucky to West Kentucky, California. And so I think those are valuable pieces too, and I heard you say some of that piece. And I know the Taylorize is good, and I know we have to do that, but I also feel like there has to be some things that they're non-negotiable.
Absolutely, and that's why our program was developed using the PEASL standards.
I wondered about
everything that we do is tied back to the standards, and the students have that information in advance. So when they get their syllabi for classes, their classes outline, this course is going to cover PEASL 3, PEASL 4, PEASL 5, and this is how we're going to do it. Every clinical experience they have is tied back to the standards as well. So, that's the one thing that I do love about our program, is that the way we have it set up, students have 3 different levels of participating in clinical experiences. They go from beginning, which is observing and shadowing and following somebody, to actually participating in leadership opportunities, whether it's participating in art meetings or participating in SDD. I always get the mixed up, sorry. I mean, I'm not good at that. And then they go to actually leading. So by the time they leave the program, they're leading something. They actually have a leadership role. And their clinical experiences are required. There are certain clinical experiences that are required of anybody who is in the program. Then there are some that are elective, where the student will have 2 or 3 different ones to pick from, and they choose what works best for them. And the third area is personalized ones that are tailored to what the student's skills and abilities and interests are, in terms of where they want to go. So there's a lot of really exciting things, I think, about our program, and for us, the clinical experience piece is really one that anchors it all back to what good leadership is all about.
And I think it makes, that's our job early on, there's no reason that our group, or whether it's Central Kentucky or Southeast Kentucky or South, we cover so much area, but there's no reason why, in this day and age, you can't do a WKU.
Oh, absolutely.
If you live in Pike County.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We brought the world, into our homes.
And that's exactly where we are with it as well, and because the goal is to expand our program because we think it's a good one. We want to figure out how we can do that. And like you said, it's not about making money, it's about trying to help push whatever equity looks like in any community through having better developed leaders. One thing, kind of creatively, if you think about it, you've got a little cohort of folks in the district or in the region for part of their clinical experience. You could work together to task them with a leadership initiative, give them the support for it, and really give them some real world stuff. Because one of the things, when I went through my principal's program and I had to go do my observation hours, it was all contrived. It had nothing to do with my school. It was just checking boxes and marking time. And we're not doing that. And this gives the opportunity to really make it into whatever the instructor or the group of instructors want it to be. So we would, of course, anyone who taught for us, we would pay adjuncts as an adjunct professor. They'd be partners in the selection process, and there is a defined selection process where you have to screen for dispositions, and they have to write an essay and explain why they want to be a principal and school leader. So Mark, help me on this, because our core curriculum also helps to branch out into other leadership pathways.
Oh, absolutely. It's used as the core for DPP, SLI, DOS, all of those different areas that have gone through a core curriculum. So if they choose to go and get their SLI on top of it, it's just a couple more classes that they have to take. It's not having to go through a full program.
And see, that changed when they went to the PSEL standards, because it's for education leaders. And so when you think about, okay, well, I know I'm going to need a dose here in a year or two, which, by the way, we have an Option 6 program for those as well. If you need to get someone in there, then you get them in this core. Then you can also, if they wanted to, you can extend them into, we've got a stackable EDS program. You come out with multiple certificates as well. So we're trying to make the time that the candidate spends in the program valuable, but we also want it to be something that helps them to be leader ready on day one. And we all know nothing prepares you for jumping in that seat other than being in that seat. But if you can open their awareness, make them more exposed and aware of the things that they're going to be running into, you've got a better chance of success.
So there's one other thing that I wanted to throw in, and this is a direct result of all this work that we do. Once a year, our faculty sit down with our district partners, whoever they may be, and we go through the work that we've done over the past year in the program, and we share where we think that there are strengths in the program aren't getting the desired outcomes that we intended, then we're gonna change it. We're gonna do something different. But we're gonna have our partners at the table to talk about that with us so that we know what their needs are and we make sure that we are addressing that as part of the process of change.
And very much, one of the things I really appreciate about Western's program, in my former role, I got to work with all of them. But they're very active in let's be better today than we were yesterday, let's be better tomorrow than we are today. Versus, well, we got it accredited, our program's approved, we don't have to do anything for 7 years. And you know how easy that is to get into. And it doesn't mean that it's always a comfortable conversation or that people are like, yeah, let's go change it again tomorrow. But if, as the demands of the field change, we have to help prepare the leaders to meet those changes. And how much has happened in 1 year versus let alone 7 years? And you have to be willing to recognize that and make those changes. And Western does. So of course, sales pitch is why wait? We already have tuition matching agreements for teacher prep, like I told you, with several districts. We will meet any of the candidates where they are. We don't believe in the, well, if you're joining in, you got to do your 30 hours, and it doesn't matter what you've done prior to this. Now, some are going to need it. We've got some folks who are ranked 2 with 3 years experience. They're going to have to do all 30 because they need it. But not everybody needs all of it. And I think that's really important. That's what we say we need to do with our kids in school, but we don't always model that. And I think it's important to be able to do that. How the delivery happens, we can tailor with the district or the group of districts. Currently, we're running an asynchronous model where for the majority of the semester you work online, do your times, and you come to campus for 3 Saturdays during the semester. Well, that's not going to apply for people coming over from Lee County. They're not going to drive cross country for that. So a couple different ways we can do this. We can send someone to meet with the cohort if you want and help support whoever's leading that cohort. We can do synchronous Zoom. If you all decide in your area that you really want to have them together, and we're to a point where you can have people together, and you think that's best for your group, you can do that too. We'll have someone assigned to each cohort to serve as the support mechanism to make sure that the important things are happening, and then to figure out how to support you in the way you want to implement the program. Flexibility is key. And again, that comes with being able to tailor to whatever your contextual needs are. And that's why we think getting cohorts in specific areas is really a good way to tackle it. We're hoping to launch groups in January. We know that it can take time to get MOAs going, but because we already have the basic shell for this type of MOA.
That's been approved by other school boards, so.
Yeah, so we've got a format, framework that we think we can make work pretty quickly. It'll then just be figuring out who our candidates are and who our adjuncts are going to be, or which experts we want to tap to lead that work. And then one other thing I want to share is that we really want to partner to provide support after the fact for new principals, years 1 through 3. Their needs are different from other principals. You know, if you bring in a full group of like a network of principals, you may have people who have 10 years experience, they've kind of seen it all, done it all, and then you've got the greenhorn who is going through everything imaginable right now and really wants some more tailored training around help me manage my day, my calendar. What do I need to be thinking about? What should I even have? What are my unknown unknowns? You know? So we want to be able to partner with that as well. We are hoping to set up a really kind of a East Cadre and a West Cadre and partner with the P3 folks to help implement and deliver that through their network as well. So we think having something along the lines of co-op, state partner, and university partner can be really powerful for really marshaling resources to support our leaders. And so we don't want to just say, hey, we want to get you in the program, fees can go up, we want to continue to be partners throughout. So that's our presentation. What